All right. The keys say 67 and the paperwork says 69, and it was outside all night in the rain with the window open. Oh well, it's a no start. I'm gonna guess it's been sitting for a while, but I'm not sure. Let's see what happens. Maybe I'll get to try out my new Ava Pow jump box. What's the fuel gauge say? Uh-oh, doesn't work. Either that or it's way past full, because full is over here and it's over here. Well, what I'm gonna do is let's go see if we can find the engine. Yeah, find out why it won't start. First we gotta look in the trunk. You guys that have been around a while, you know why. That's where the engine is. Oh, I know why it doesn't run. There's a spare tire on the carburetor. Oh yeah, I remember that. That belt is no good. It's slipping like a mad dog. Look at this. I smell bad gas. Twin carburetor, 6-cylinder Chevrolet's answer to the Volkswagen. The most deadliest car ever made, probably. After a few years of brisk sales, people started dying in accidents and stuff and fires, and they stopped making them. This thing sounds like it's got no gas. Of course, someone's been working on it and trying to figure it out already. That's why it's here. And there's bugs all over me because I'm next to the water, standing on an anthill. We're having fun. 1 hour, figure it out, Jimmy. I'm gonna get some starting fluid, give it a spritz. There's no gas in the filter, so if it starts on a spritz, I'm leaning heavily towards fuel pump or out of gas. We'll figure it out. Let's get this out of there. 164 turbo air, 110 horsepower. That's 3 times what a Volkswagen had. These are cool looking little cars, but I know too much about all the people that got hurt. So where can I put this? I won't lose it. My pocket. Let's get some starting fluid, see what happens. Figured out why the window is left open. You gotta push it in to put the window, make the window move. This is the hot rod stuff a lot of the guys don't understand. Look at that. Boom, out of the weather. Hot rod stuff is fun. Come on now. The plan is have my key ready. I'll put it in the ignition. I'm gonna spray a bunch of that stuff. I don't want to bother anybody. They're all real busy doing axles and brakes and stuff. Let's see here. Yeah, I don't see anything else other than what the heck? Saw someone brushed stuff in the trunk maybe and got that on the wire. Hope they didn't try to seal an arcing wire. We'll get to that next if it doesn't start with this. Most common no start on these old cars, if they sat, the carburetors are gummed up, and what happens is those idle passages get gummed up. They can't pass fuel. They'll only pass air, and all the air in the world isn't going to start. It has to have fuel. Throttle body cleaner. I'm going to flood it pretty good, so I got a minute to get over there. Okay, so now we got a lack of fuel. Now, all we got to do is figure out why. Now I got to take this air cleaner contraption off of here. There's a rubber hose somewheres, and then I can get 3/8, and we can, oh look, it's already loose. We'll see if there's gas in the carburetors. If there's gas, if there isn't gas too, I could find the bowl vent, which I think is right here. If I pour gas into the bowl and it stays running until that burns out, then I know the fuel pump's not sending fuel to it, right? So one good thing about these old cars, they're really not that complicated. That's interesting. There it is. I got no fuel spraying, so what I'll do is, if I can get this to spray slow, this is the bowl vent. Now, if you have a cut, this stuff will hurt. Sometimes I've even taken these idle screws out. Controls the fuel mixture. You can take the screw out, blow shop air in there. Of course, I'm too far away from the shop. I'll have to get some guys to help me push it around. And you can use a blowgun and blow air through that idle mixture adjuster screw, and it'll at least clear that passage. Sometimes they'll start after that if it's not a fuel feed problem. So it even looks like it's not letting fuel go down into the bowl. Does that mean the bowl's full and the ports are all clogged in the carburetors? Very possible. One thing I can see is it's not putting gas in the filter. So I'm leaning heavily towards out of gas, or the pump's not pulling it. Could also be a line. If the rubber hoses anywhere in the system develop a crack or split, it'll pull air way before it'll pull fuel. So what I'll do is unscrew one of these filter clamps, put my vacuum gauge on it, see if the pump's pulling a vacuum. If it can pull a vacuum, it can pull fuel. And then our focus is going to be on the lines in the tank. Man, this is crusty old rubber, I'll tell you that much. Anytime a length of hose is going to split, dry rot, even if that hose gets mushy and collapses, that pump's only going to pull, 2 to 5 inches of vacuum probably. I'm not sure. It's been a while. But that hose is super soft. It's just going to go, and the pump's not going to pull anything. So I might have to get someone out here to crank it or to look at the gauge while I crank it. We'll see if it holds. I might be able to see it from here while I'm cranking if I moves it around. We got vacuum, I think. There you go. Do it again. Back here real quick. Yep, we got 5 inches of vacuum, so the fuel pump's doing something. It's either out of gas, problem with a line, or something in the tanks restricting the. A lot of times they'll have a sock, and you can actually put shop air in there and force air that way, and it'll blow the sock off the pickup. That at least helps you diagnose it. You probably should drop the tank and replace it if it does fix it. A lot of sediment and stuff in these old cars from sitting. They definitely don't like the alcohol in the fuel. Could be why the hoses are so soft, but let me let them know we got to drop the tank out of this thing at this point. Could try throwing a gallon or two of gas in it, but I would hope a customer would say maybe it's out of gas and put gas in it. So we got a couple things to work out up front with this, and then we'll come back to it. All the tires have 12 pounds of air. That's not going to do it. Probably been sitting a while, I'm going to guess. The way this thing works, rubber piece of fuel line, rubber dealio, it makes a 90, goes to a metal line, and it's hidden in this box, which looks like, I don't know, 20 or so 1/4 inch screws. If I wanted to look at that line and see if it's rusty. But I'm thinking if there's gas in it, and it was rusty, it would be leaking gas, right? That's my thinking. It comes out over here, goes to another piece of rubber, and then where we were in the engine compartment. So if you gotta do valve cover gaskets on these, yeah, it's not much trouble. That's probably not how that's supposed to be. Like there's a flange missing. or something. Oh, it's broken off. My goodness gracious. This needs major exhaust work and other things you might expect. Vacuum modulator, old school transmission. My plan now at this point is to loosen this clamp and see if gas drips out of there. And if it does, then I might need to take this panel down and see if that tube's got something going on with it. Nothing yet. Be funny if this thing's just out of gas, just a huge waste of everybody's time. But I don't know, if my car shuts off, my gas gauge don't work, I get a gallon or two of gas, see what happens. Let's get some pliers, see if we can get that rubber break loose. This will let some fuel out if there's fuel in it. I'm going to put it back on if it comes off and leaks gas. So it might get a little messy. Nothing. Well, that makes me want to blow a little shop air in there and see what happens now. This thing's out of gas. At least that's what I think it is. Because that shop air just disturbs the gas. It smells a little old too, but it doesn't smell terribly old. It smells like if you put new gas in an old gas tank kind of thing. It doesn't smell great, but it should run. It's got gas. Let's get a couple gallons of gas, see what happens. Trash. Uh-oh, slow down. Easy now. That sucks. What are you gonna do, huh? Oops. It's part of the fun of the job. Alright. Got some fresh clothes. See if we can do it again. Let's try it this way. My foot's starting to burn from going down to my shoe. Rayman Ray doesn't pour gas on himself for his viewers. For the grand finale, someone passed me a match. I can only do it once. What? There's no retainers to hold the floor mats. What the heck? Gotta crank it and get fuel up to the pump. I haven't even done that. The heck? I gotta put the charger on it. Negative, positive. That's probably doesn't help. How's this thing cranking so good? Everything's loose. Oh my goodness. Let's snug them up first. What do you say? Listen here, man. This isn't going to turn into another classic car restoration for 2 hours, I hope. I'm not gonna say it's not gonna happen. I'm gonna say I hope it doesn't happen, because almost every single one of them I work on, it ends up I spend twice as much time on them as it pays, because I like fixing stuff. I see problems, I want to fix it. We're gonna let this charge about 20 minutes. Crank it some more. You could put some gas in the carburetors, but I put the air cleaner back on already, thinking he wasn't gonna want to fix it anymore. Wrong. Well, no time like the present than there is to try the AvaPow 6,000 amp jump starter. Part number A68. Feels awful light for 6,000 amps, but we'll find out. So we're going to pop this apart. We're going to pop this door open. It's kind of an awkward way they do it here, but it works. Just unusual, because this kind of gets in the way of it. But you would think that I would put the connector here myself, but it's something unusual. I was going to charge it up, and then I remembered I needed to try this out. So that's what we're doing. Another thing I'm concerned about is how short these cables are. But we can make it work. It's not that they don't reach across a battery. It's just, where do you put the tool? Alright, let's try it. So now I have to crank it to get gas from the fuel tank in the front to the engine in the back. It's like an 8-foot long fuel line. So we'll see, we'll keep trying it. Let's make sure that the old jump box, the instructions do say only to crank it for 3 seconds, but there is no meter on it as far as how much voltage or anything. Some of them have that, some of them don't. It runs. Well, that's a bummer. It ran about 5 minutes and then shut off. Alright, I'm going to put this here so nothing happens to it. I'm going to try starting it again. Probably doesn't help having this belt so loose and the alternator, you know. But there's gas in the filter now, so we're past the ran out of gas part. I'm not sure about how good he wants it to run, or if he even knows about the exhaust leaks. Who knows if he just bought it? I don't know. I did turn these screws out about a turn to see if that would affect how it started earlier, so I'm going to put them back in a turn, so at least it's where it was. It sounds to me like it also needs carburetor work. Not surprising. Ran better where I had it. I adjusted them without it running. We gotta raise the idle, I know that much. And I'm gonna go back out a half a turn and get a light on here so I can see and you can see. Half a turn back out, in between where they had it and where I had it. Now when you adjust on anything on these carburetors, if you want to raise the idle, you don't crank one up. You go, you know, quarter turn, or eighth of a turn to get it where you want and keep them the same. If you use one carburetor, it'll go out of the idle circuits. My camera light is going dead. Let's put that light on charge and we'll play with these carburetors a little bit. Well guys, we'll close it up the shop. Seems like the Corvair, this one's kind of coming off the rails. The guy says, "You're already overcharging me. You're going to charge me to just to adjust the carburetors?" That's not how it works. Plus the exhaust, you know, it needs work. We got it running though, so it was basically out of gas, and I blew the sock off the tanky, so I put the shop air in there. So both of those things might have helped. It's definitely got a bad gas smell out of the exhaust when it's running, although it had no gas in it. So that means everything's stained with bad gas. So it'd probably be a good idea to replace or flush that tank and change all the hoses. It's expensive. And then you got to redo the carburetors, and then you got to fix all those exhaust leaks. So and he's already mad that it's 150 bucks or 200 bucks or whatever we charge him. I'm going to charge the battery on a trickle overnight, and then we'll start fresh tomorrow. Thanks for watching. Torque the like button for me on your way out if you enjoyed today's video, and more than anything, I hope I see you in the next one, because you're awesome.